Hi everyone. So this is the long-awaited second episode of Qlassics, where I take older fairy tales and romantic stories and give them a little bit of a queer twist. So it's mostly art and a little bit of storytelling. This episode's gonna have a little bit less storytelling because if you can't already tell, it's unscripted. Because the script was giving me so many problems because I just kept going into way too much detail. So we're just gonna fly by the seat of our pants here and just try to tell you what I came up with. So, like I teased in the previous Cinderella episode, this one is Beauty and the Beast themed, and I started with Beauty. So, this is Kaviya. I love her. Um, and you might notice from my sketch, but she is a woman of color. She is Indian. She's beautiful and I love her. And she also has a limb difference because it's very important to me that characters that have, the characteristic of beautiful, there's a beautiful archetype, that they have things that aren't normally shown as, beautiful, as conventionally beautiful. So that is non-white races for some reason, and then people with disabilities and or limb differences. And so it was very important to me to kind of show that in this character, that she can be beautiful and have these things, not despite them, and it doesn't take away from anything. Oh god, I'm messing with her hair right now. I'm watching the video while I talk so I can make sure I keep track of time. This is gonna be a mess, I'm so sorry. So you might also notice that this does not take place in the same time period as the last one. And it's, when I started this series, I didn't want it to be limited to just one time period. I want to, I'm very into historical fiction, especially historical queer fiction. And so I want to tell stories about queer characters in all kinds of timelines. So this series was never meant to be just medieval or whatever the heck the last episode was. And the reason why I chose the 50s and 60s specifically is because that was the biggest time for, like, pulp fiction. Just, like, cheap stories just thrown out there. Just all these novels, and a lot of them are so wacky. Specifically the queer lesbian pulp fiction stories. I wanted to kind of do my own take on that and make it a lot more wholesome. If you watch Strange Aeons, watch her video on the book Satan Was a Lesbian. That was definitely something that I was channeling when I was drawing this. Like I said, this one's a lot more wholesome though. Good lesbians. And not so much death. But essentially, Kaviya fits into that, good girl archetype. She's always following the rules. She does exactly as her parents say. But something just doesn't feel quite right. People keep trying to set her up with these boys that will be good for her, and she's just not connecting with them, and she doesn't quite know why. And for some reason, she's also drawn to, like, watching, like, darker movies or scarier movies, and she feels weird, like, I shouldn't like this. She's, like, ashamed that she has, like, an interest in darker things, or I'm not sure how to describe this. But you know what I mean. She watches, like, all those, like, 50s and 60s, like, beware of drugs movies and, like, vampire movies that are, like, super cheesy. She watches that behind her parents' backs, and then she feels bad about it afterwards because she's like, why am I doing that? That's so weird. But it all makes sense later, trust me. So right now you are watching all of her colors going into her outfit and her bike. I wanted her to be extremely femme, because again, she's the good girl. And, just, you wouldn't expect her to be in these kinds of things. And, obviously as the good girl, she's not supposed to, have an interest in women, which is what she's going to discover that she has. She's supposed to be perfect, especially in the 50s, where everyone had to conform to very specific ways of being. Kaviya doesn't fit into that, and she feels kind of embarrassed about that. And I kind of wanted to explore that side of the beauty character of, like, in like the fairy tales and in the Disney movie particularly, she's like super perfect and, you know, if a bit like curious. Obviously, she does not follow all the rules in the movie, but here, you know, she struggles with a lot more. She has her own lessons to learn, and I think that that's great. All characters should do that. Anyway, so I'm going to start talking about the next character, the Beast character, because I want to kind of preemptively say something. Part of the reason why this episode took so long to script was because I kept running into an issue where the Beast character is kind of hard to explain in a storytelling voice. It works much better if I just do it in this like casual voice. It was extremely important to me for personal reasons to make the Beast a trans and or non-binary character, because I, you know, as a non-binary person myself, or at least a gender non-conforming person, it's, you know, I have some sympathy for the Beast of like, you know, people look at me and they see me as something that I'm not on the inside. And how do I get people to see that? So it was very important to me to explore that side of the Beast's character, but in the script format that I used for the Cinderella video, it just wasn't coming across correctly. That, like, you know, long story short, I did not want it to imply that I think that being trans makes you a beast. Again, as a non-binary person, I don't personally believe that. And so I thought it was just much better for me to come on here and be a human and just talk about it, and be honest about it. So in a second, you will see her. She's one of my favorite characters I've ever drawn as well. Wow, I'm so gay for the two lesbian characters. I'm sorry. I'm not surprised. Yeah, I said Kaviya was one of my favorites, and now I'm going to say the same thing about Beverly. So I think you should be seeing her right now. My timing might be off in this recording, but whatever. Beverly's amazing. And again, just for representation's sake, I made her a POC character. She's Asian. I didn't quite pinpoint a country that she's from, but I also made her a little curvier, because I think that curvy representation is important in general, but also for trans girls. And she also has short hair, because I think trans girls with short hair is also important representation that we need more of. She's so cute. I'm just watching these lines come in. I also gave her glasses because I have glasses and I'm vain. No, I'm not. So this is Beverly and her pit bull Zeus. He represents more of the like actual beast part of the Beast character, mostly because when Kaviya first meets Beverly and Zeus is kind of the first thing that she sees, and it's like, oh my god, a scary dog attacking me. Because a lot of people make that assumption about pit bulls, that they're dangerous and that they're aggressive. And, well, they can be. They're so sweet though, and they're so cute. And that's kind of what Zeus represents. Well, he's a very strong boy, and he can come off a little tough at times. Deep inside, he's just a cuddly sweetie, and he just wants some love, and it's so cute, and I love him. Oh yeah, the roller skates. I was so into giving her roller skates. I don't know why. But then I looked up like skates from the 40s, and I loved it. So yes, I use references. Always, that's my art tip for today. Just use references. Anyway, so yes, Beverly is trans, and when Kaviya first meets her, she's in, for lack of a better term, girl mode. And Kaviya assumes that she's cis. And, you know, but she doesn't recognize her. They're about the same age. They should both be in high school, but Kaviya doesn't recognize her. And oh my god, it looks like Zeus has little buck teeth, but I promise that's his tongue. You'll see it when I color it. Don't judge my boy for his teeth. So Kaviya doesn't recognize her, but then, you know, they get to talking, and they start to connect on, like, you know, Kaviya has all these interests in, like, weird movies, and Beverly is also into these weird movies. And they start to connect over their mutual interests. And it isn't until much later in the story, after, you know, because again, I have to give you the abridged version because the actual version of the story got way too long. Essentially, she shows up late to school the next day because they sleep in because they had too much fun the night before, just like partying and getting along and stuff. Getting along? That sounds so lame. I'm so sorry. Can you tell that I don't go to parties and I don't hang out with anyone ever? I'm so alone. Um, so, because they show up late for school, they both end up getting detention, but they show up to school separately. And it's when Kaviya gets to detention that she, you know, doesn't see the version of Beverly that she expects to see. She sees someone who presents as a boy who looks very much like Beverly, and it's a little confusing at first, and she can tell that the quote-unquote boy who looks so much like Beverly is like being extremely shy and embarrassed, and Kaviya kind of puts the pieces together, but because trans identities weren't really talked about that much back then, she's just a little confused, but she knows that she really likes this person and just wants to get to know them and accept them and love them. And so even though Beverly is so nervous that Kaviya is not gonna be accepting, Kaviya ends up slipping her a note before she leaves for the day. And it, you know, is an offer to meet up later. And then they do. And they meet up outside Beverly's house. To everyone else in town, she's the weird, quiet son of the mayor. But when, you know, Kaviya has only ever known her as Beverly, and therefore Kaviya is able to accept her for exactly who she is, and as kind of the happily ever after, after they talk about, you know, Beverly talks about her identity, and Kaviya completely accepts everything about it because she just loves this person. They end up dating, so everyone in town just thinks that, oh, you know, it's a regular old cishet relationship. And the two of them know the truth, that it's actually a very, very gay relationship, and it works for them. And so in the end, they both get to discover things about themselves. You know, Beverly gets to learn a little bit more self-acceptance and gets, you know, someone that she can talk to about her trans identity openly, which she's never had before. And Kaviya discovers that she's gay and that that's awesome and okay. And, you know, then they get to be together, and it's really sweet. And they have Zeus, and he's my sweet boy. And I think we're about to time at the end of the video. Sorry, this was such a mess. Hopefully this has any semblance of coherence. And also sorry if the audio was weird. My roommates are making dinner in the other room, and they're being very loud about it. And also my voice is just a little bad today, so apologies for all those issues, and also apologies for the delay. Hopefully you liked it. Obligatory end card for YouTube videos, and obligatory outro. If you liked this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to hear your feedback. And if you would like to subscribe, I'll have more art videos coming out, and I also have something else in the works that I don't want to give anything away about now, but it's something a lot more intense, a lot more work intensive for me, something I've been working on for a while now. And hopefully I'll get to show you guys the project that I'm working on very soon. So thank you so much for watching this video. You can follow me on Instagram or Tumblr or even on Twitch, where I show up every once in a while. And I have the same name on all those places, Lady Shakespeare. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope it wasn't a complete and total mess. Thank you. Bye!